We see Benjamin, as a kid, open a door into a garage. He looked indifferent and goes and gets his bike. It was fairly old. The bike was dusty, but he got on it. His mother saw him. "Please put your helmet on," she stated. "But Mom, I never go that fast, and that helmet is always too tight on my head," he said, annoyed. "Helmet on. Come on, be a good boy," she stated. "I always am," he said, upset. "You just never notice," he says. "What?" Martha asked him. "I behave in school, I behave at church, and no one ever wants to be my friend. I'm so angry, it's not fair," he says, sad. Martha hugs him. "Why can't I have friends, Mom? What's wrong with me?" he asks in tears. "Oh, sweetie, there's nothing wrong with you. You are so special, so good, so cute. I love you. People will one day love you the way me and your father do," she told him. "When?" Benjamin asked, crying. "I don't know, baby." She wipes the tears from his eyes. "But I love you so much. I just wish you did too. I wish you could see how amazing you are. You are our entire world. And people will tell you horrible things because they're different and jealous of who you are," she says with tears in her eyes. "My handsome boy, life is unfair. That's why people are so mean to each other. That's why we have to be fair with others. You understand?" He nods, and she kisses his forehead. "There's my sweet boy. Have fun," she says as Benjamin gets on his bike, putting the helmet on. He takes off into the neighborhood, seeing people walking on the sidewalk and mowing their lawns. Suddenly, he heard someone scream, "Ow, that hurt!" Someone said. Benjamin stopped the bike. "Then give me the game!" one of the larger boys said. "No, it's mine!" the boy screamed. "Give it!" the other boy shouted. "Hey, what are you doing?" Benjamin asked. "Nothing! Leave us alone! Mind your own business, crap face!" one of them said. Benjamin looked to see the boy on the ground. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked. Suddenly, Benjamin is pushed off of his bike by the larger boy. "I said get out of here!" Benjamin's helmet flies off his head and rolls away. Benjamin tries to crawl away. "What's wrong? Need mommy and daddy?" the boy says. Suddenly, Benjamin is kicked in the stomach. He coughs and tries to scream. Benjamin woke up screaming from his bed. He was sweating and checked the time. It was 2:35 in the morning. He grunted in frustration and went to his desk and opened his journal. He then began to write down 2.5 hours. On the journal were multiple hours marked. Benjamin went to the armory. We see him turning on the lights. He looked to see an M230 grenade launcher. He grabbed it. He was outside the walls and put several cases down into the dirt after digging. He looked around to make sure no one was watching him. Benjamin came back at dawn, seeing Rachel and her siblings. "Why are you so dirty?" Tyler asked him. Benjamin gave a weak smile. "Just went on patrol." "By yourself?" Rachel asked. Benjamin halfway turned to her. "Someone has to be. The truth is, I was also stashing a few weapons." "On the outskirts of our community? What if someone finds them?" Sean asked. "Not possible. I buried it with a locked crate with a 6-digit combination and covered the fresh dirt with a pile of dead walkers. No one would ever think to look there," he stated. "Why are you putting weapons out there?" John asked. "Why didn't you let us go with you?" they asked. "Night was the best time to do it. I didn't want to wake any of you up." "Sorry, I have to go now," he told them. As Benjamin was walking back to his house, he opened the door. Benjamin was shocked as he saw Brandon sitting by the table with breakfast all done. "I made some coffee and pancakes. I know, I'm terrible. If it wasn't for you, I would have failed home economics, and Mrs. Cooper would have given me an earful," he told him. Benjamin poured himself some coffee. Thank you, he said to Brandon. How long have you been up? Benjamin asked. Well, not as long as you, Brandon stated. Bro, I know you go out there every night. It's not hard to hear. I mean, you're quiet, but I'm next door, he stated. Benjamin looked defeated. I haven't been sleeping lately. For how long? He asked. 3 weeks, Benjamin stated. Oh, God! Benjamin, why didn't you tell us? He asked, worried. Because it's my problem, he stated. I'll be fine, he said, going to his drawer until he saw it was empty. Looking for these? Brandon asked, holding a bottle of caffeine pills. I found these too, he said. Give them back, Benjamin said. You never even touched coffee or these before, and now... Yeah, well, things aren't like how they were before, and they never will be, Benjamin stated. That's not true. Walkers will go away one day. When you poisoned and killed the Ragers, weren't you also poisoned? You're addicted to these, aren't you? Don't trust these stupid pills. Come on, this is not good for you. You're killing yourself, he told him. Thank you for the coffee, Benjamin said, leaving, as he went to the bathroom to clean up, as Brandon looked on, worried. That night, Benjamin gasped awake from his bed again, as he curses. Not again, he said in anger. He tries to leave when he sees Brandon outside. Benjamin and Brandon stay up watching the game. Okay, so how many kids would you want to have? Brandon asked. Benjamin was surprised by the question. Come on, man, you said you wanted to keep talking so you wouldn't fall asleep again. Yeah, but your questions make me want to jump off the wall, Benjamin told him. Just answer the question, he stated. Why would I want to bring a kid into this world? Benjamin asked. Because you make an amazing father, Brandon told him. And besides, I make a cool uncle, he laughed. Benjamin gave a small smile. Is that a smile? No, it wasn't, he yawned. I'm just tired and bored of these questions. Well, Brandon said, again pressuring him. I guess if the world wasn't overrun with the dead. I would like one. Just one? Brandon asked. Boy or girl? He said. Well, it doesn't really matter, but a girl would be nice. A sweet little girl, he stated. Brandon smiled. You'll have one day, bro. Just have faith. I mean, Grace is pregnant. At least the world gave us one break when it ended. Yeah, if the walkers ever finally die out, we could finally stop being bachelors and find someone, right? I was always flirting with girls back then, but you never did. And I get why. You were scared how they act around you after that fight with Scott. Can we not talk about this, please? Benjamin asked. Oh, sure, man. How long have you been living here? With all of them? Brandon asked. 1 year, 11 months, 3 weeks, and 4 days, Benjamin told him. Did you really have to be that specific? You could have just said since the beginning, he said. Don't like my answer? Then stop asking questions, he said. Honestly, man, I'm impressed. You guys have food, water, fences, and guns here. Not a lot of people, though. But that's understandable, given how the last couple of groups have tried to kill you. We had to deal with another group before you came here, he tells him. Which means that we'll just have to deal with even more threats to keep this place safe. I won't argue with that, Brandon told him. Whatever you have, someone will always try to take for themselves. The next morning, we see Victor visiting his mom as Rachel and him clean her house. Thank you for helping me, she stated. It's no trouble, Karen. As they leave, Rachel talks to Victor. Did you talk to your father yet? She asks. No, I haven't, he tells her. You should really go talk to him, Victor. Please go talk to him. He needs you, she stated. All right, for you I will. You don't have to do it for me. It's for you and him. We all don't have much family left, Victor. Elsewhere, John and Hannah talk about Benjamin, and she tells him there were dozens of cuts all over his body, close to 50, all over his arms, chest, and mostly his back. There was a large X scar on his shoulders. John cursed and tried to gain his composure. We have to do something. I love that kid, but he's stubborn. Too stubborn for his own good. He keeps everything to himself, not because he's selfish, but because he's noble and thinks he has to suffer alone. Hannah says that she's tried to talk to him, but she can't get through. He pushes back everything she tries. John offers to take her place. John goes to talk with Benjamin. Hey, Ben, can we talk? He asks. As they sat down, Benjamin was drinking a coffee. John took one. Thank you, Ben. Did I ever tell you about my family? John asked. No, you didn't, he stated. My father used to fight in the Vietnam War. Him and my uncle, Private Jeremiah and Joseph Mars. My dad told me he was thick as thieves with my uncle. Jeremiah, Joseph, and John. Isn't that... Yes, my grandfather had this whole thing about having the family named after the letter J. It was a simpler time back then, he said. But when my father came back from Vietnam, he was changed. I was 5 years old. When he came back, he was completely different. At least, that's what my mother would tell me. He and my uncle were the type of guys who stop and change somebody else's tire for them. There was still a lot of racism back then, but they wanted to show the good from African Americans. That's why my mother married him. Benjamin continued to listen, being interested. My father suffered from PTSD when he came back from the war. When him and my uncle were following a child to his village, they walked right into a landmine. Benjamin was surprised by this. My uncle was the one who set it off. His lower body was completely blown off. My father tried to hold him as he lied in pain, and then he pulled his gun and killed him to end his suffering. After that, my father came back from the war worse. He couldn't assimilate back to normal society. He had night terrors. He stayed and watched TV more than play with me or go to church. He came back from the war, but he died there. I'm telling you this because I love you, Ben. You were like a son to me. You and Sean. I don't want to see you boys go through the same thing. What happened to your father? Benjamin asked. 5 years later, when I turned 10, he took a bottle of hard liquor and then took his Smith & Wesson and took his own life, he said. Benjamin's expression didn't change. He knew the story wouldn't have a happy ending. I don't want to see that happen to any of you, he tells him. Outside the walls, Ayumi goes with Kyle. What are we doing out here? Kyle asks. You'll see, she tells him, as she takes a bag of guns. You know, you'll see is never a good sign, he tells her. Ayumi digs into the ground as Kyle covers her. She puts the bag of guns in the buried locker. Kyle looks on, perplexed. Are you sure this is a smart idea? He asks. Yes, it is. Watch. Ayumi drags some of the walkers Kyle just killed and uses them to cover the fresh dirt. See? Now no one will see the fresh dirt over. The trick is to cover the fresh dirt so no one gets any funny ideas, she tells him. Wow, that's really smart, Kyle compliments. It wasn't my idea. Benjamin came up with it. But don't we have an armory full of weapons? Why the extra caches? He asks. Well, Benjamin doesn't think it's a good idea to store all our weapons in one place. Plus, if any one of us is stuck on the outside, this will surely come in handy, she says. We should get back. It's almost sundown. Ayumi goes with him back into the truck, and they begin to leave. At night, Rachel is walking when she sees Victor. She saw a flask in his hand. Victor, are you okay? She asks. Oh yeah, of course. I'm just, passing the time, he says, taking another sip. Hey, come on. Why don't you give that to me? She asks. Relax, Rachel. Oh my god, why are you trying to run my life? Come on, please, she says, reaching her hand out. He took a hold of her hand. Rachel, I'm sorry for what I said last week. That was a horrible thing for me to say, he tells her. I forgive you, she says. See, that's why I care so much about you. You're so brave, considerate, and so beautiful, he says, drunk, surprising her. Victor, I think you're drunk. Come on, why don't you go home and lie down? Sure, come with me, he says. Rachel is shocked as Victor grabs her arm. Victor, stop! I'm serious! As he continues and tries to kiss her. Stop! She shouted as a dark figure grabbed Victor and slammed him into the ground incredibly fast. What are you doing? Benjamin asks with burning red eyes. Leave, he tells him as Rachel watches Victor get up and leave. Are you okay? Benjamin asks, refraining from looking at her in the eyes. Yeah, I'm okay. Rachel looked as Benjamin was keeping his eyes off of her. Rachel saw Benjamin's arms covered in cuts. Ben, what happened to your arms? She asked. Benjamin tried to cover them with his hand. He hoped she wouldn't notice. Ben, why aren't you looking at me? She asked. Benjamin was afraid. She was too smart, as he feared. Please look at me. There was no way out. Benjamin looked right at her, and she saw his red eyes. Oh my God, she said, surprised. I have to go. But she grabbed his arm as he tried to leave. You need to see Hannah right now, she told him. I already did, he told her. Your arms? Is that what Xavier did to you? She asked. Benjamin nodded. I guess it makes sense now why you disappeared and didn't let us know what you were doing, but she continues. I'm sorry. I feel like it's my fault this happened to you. It wasn't, he tells her. But I wish you didn't have to do this to yourself, to protect us. We could have helped you. Rachel cries as Benjamin stands next to her. I'm sorry. He tries to reach out, but she pushes away. Benjamin leaves. Later that night, Benjamin went into his house and started to get dizzy. He started to feel sick and nauseous. He heard a voice. All done trying to make yourself feel better? Benjamin saw his other self standing on the wall. Get out! You're not real! He shouted. Why are you? You know why. You accepted me and now you're trying to get rid of me again! When are you going to realize the closer you get to them, the more they'll die? You know what'll happen. The same thing that keeps happening. Benjamin dropped to the bathroom and began to throw up in the toilet. Withdrawals, huh? Or could it be whatever you used to kill the Ragers? Yeah, that's what happens when you take 6 cups of coffee and dozens of caffeine pills a day. The body comes to collect the debt you created. Shut up! He shouted, exhausted. What do you think Mom and Dad would think? What do you think Mom and Dad would think if they found out their only son was an addict? He said sarcastically. Shut up! You're not real! You're a demon, and I won't let you control me anymore! I am more than you, so leave me alone! Benjamin shouted, punching the wall. As Benjamin released his grip, he saw his bloody hand and busted fingers. He then looked and saw Brandon. Minutes later, they were sitting on the couch as Brandon wraps his hand with bandages. Well, I'm glad it wasn't worse, he said. For all it's worth, I'm proud of you. Don't say that, Benjamin told him. No, I'm serious, Brandon said in defense. You're gonna break this thing. You're the leader of this community, you have all these people here, and they die for you. I know I would. You love them so much you're willing to poison yourself so they can have another day to live. Why do you think that is? He asked. Because they deserve to live more than I do, he said. Oh, shut up! I'm sorry, but that's not true. It's because you want them to live. You want them to live despite everything because you see that there are still things in this world worth fighting for. You want them to not lose any more than they already have because you're a good person, Brandon said. Brandon began to get up and leave. Good luck, he said, patting him on the shoulder. Benjamin looked to see Rachel walking in. As Brandon left through the doors, Benjamin was surprised. Rachel sits down with Benjamin on the couch. Brandon told me everything. I know you can't sleep from having nightmares. I know you're keeping it all to yourself because you don't want us to worry. But we all care about you. Even after everything that's happened, you're still as important to us as you've always been. Nothing has changed with how I feel about you. She looked and placed his hand on his bandaged arm, gently placing her arm on it. Whatever problems you're going through, I want to help you. The same way you helped me. Helped all of us. I know what it's like to hide your problems from the people you care about because you're scared and ashamed. But I have never stopped caring about you, and I won't let you take all the burdens anymore. "So lie down," she told him. Benjamin began to lie down on the couch as Rachel sat with him, and she began to wait for him to fall asleep. Elsewhere, Victor goes to his house. He opens the door and sees no lights on. "Mom? Are you here?" he asked. Victor turned on the light. Nothing so far. "Mom, where are you?" he asked. He came to the bedroom, and as he turned on the light, there he saw a horrifying sight. Blood all over the bed. "Oh my God!" Victor dropped to the ground, shaking. Suddenly, Karen came out of the bedroom as a walker. She snarled at him. "No! Oh my God!" Victor ran away, terrified. But he tripped, falling to the ground. As Karen came towards him, she lunged at him. Victor grabbed her head. "No! No! Mom! Oh my God!" Victor pushed his mother against the wall, and as he backed away, he grabbed his knife that was on his belt. "I'm sorry." And as Karen came towards him, Victor took his knife and slammed the knife into her skull. "I'm sorry, Mom. Oh my God. I'm sorry." In the house, Rachel continues to lie down on the couch when she hears barking. She gets up, checking Benjamin, seeing that he's still asleep. She then sees someone go past the window. She quietly goes outside, gently closing the door. Outside, Brandon sees someone heading into the armory house, but he couldn't see who. "Hello?" he asked. Brandon is then grabbed from behind as someone plunges a knife into his side. He screams in pain as the blade is pulled out and then jammed into his back as the man lets go of him. The hooded figure drops him as Brandon drops to the ground. He tries to see his attacker. "Who are you?" he asks. Benjamin then hears the barking himself and gets up. He yawns and then looks outside, seeing a bright light. It was a fire. The armory was on fire. Benjamin then jumped into action, quickly grabbing some guns and ammo from one of the drawers. He then grabbed his walkie-talkie. "John? Rachel? There's a fire in the armory! I'm heading there now!" Suddenly, Benjamin started hearing whispering from outside. He saw people at his window and heard them at his door. He quickly moved away from his spot as the door was kicked open and someone fired an assault rifle into his house, shredding the walls, glass, and furniture. As the unknown man continued to fire his gun, it clicked empty. As soon as Benjamin heard the click, he exposed himself from the corner and fired his gun, hitting the man in the chest, killing him. He quickly moved back into the corner as multiple people fired back at him. Benjamin went through the back door. Inside the house, Xavior comes in. "Find him," he ordered. Outside the neighborhood was in chaos as residents were dragged outside onto the street. Alexa, Dan, Trey, and Jose were held at gunpoint. As they turned around, "Kyle?" she said in shock. "Don't move," he stated. Elsewhere, Sean, Hannah, Ayumi, and Merle were sneaking around the neighborhood when Merle started to bark. "Boy, shut up!" Sean begged. When Ayumi saw a man with a gun and fired, she missed as they ran. Hannah tried to grab Sean and hurry him away as the man fired his gun. As they were running, Sean fell down with Hannah as Ayumi screamed for them. Sean got up, but Hannah wasn't moving. "Hannah? Hey, come on, get up!" he shouted. He saw her bloody medical clothes. Hannah whispered, "Sean," very weakly, and then stopped breathing. "Hannah! No! No, please!" Sean begged. Ayumi grabbed him. "Sean, we can't stay here," she told him as she dragged him away. In between two houses lay a bleeding Brandon. He was applying pressure to his wounds when he saw Kyle standing over him with a gun. He aimed the gun at his head. Bang. "No, that's too good for you." Elsewhere, John was hiding with Rachel as they saw Xavier. He aimed his gun when Rachel stopped him. John looked to see Xavier was holding Tyler and Rebecca at gunpoint. Rachel was terrified. Xavier looked around. "Did you find them?" he asked. Kyle nodded. "No, sir. Found the traitor." "Is he dead?" Xavier asked. "He will be soon enough." "All right, then. Attention, everyone! I'm offering you all a one-time chance to live. I will let you all live if you come to our side!" Tyler shouted, "Like heck out!" when Xavier hit him in the back of the head with his gun. "Tyler!" Rebecca shouted as she ran to hold onto her brother. Rachel tried to run, but John stops her. "We can't," he told her, as she began to cry. Xavier aimed his gun at Tyler. "So what's it gonna be?" Suddenly, several residents got up. "I'll join you," he said. Alexa was shocked. "Doug, how could you?" she asked, horrified. "Look around, Alexa. We don't owe these people anything," he stated, as more went to Xavier's side. Nearly all of Alexa's former people. "Don't do this!" she said as they walked away. Well. I guess that's it then, huh?" he asked. Pastor Matthews got up. "If you wish to kill someone, please kill me. I am not afraid to die. But please, spare the children," he stated. Xavier removed his gun from Tyler. "I'm gonna refuse that, Father," Xavier said as he aimed his gun, shooting Pastor Matthews in the head, killing him. Grace tried to shield her boys from the horrifying sight. "I'm going to kill everyone, but A for effort," Xavier said coldly. Behind her, Rachel heard a whisper and saw Benjamin. Both her and John looked relieved. "Oh, thank God," she said, hugging him. "Glad you're okay. But they got Grace, Alexa, and the kids. We're outnumbered," he told Benjamin. "I've got an idea," Benjamin stated. Xavier fired his gun into the air. "That's it! No more waiting!" he shouted. He aimed his gun at Tyler again. "If your leader doesn't show up right now, the kid's dying! 3, 2, 1, Xavier!" he heard loudly. Benjamin had his gun raised and was coming out. "It's you. I didn't think you were dumb enough to actually show yourself. I'd rather be dumb than a coward who would let my people die." "I guess that's true. You murdered my brother," he said, angry. "You're one to talk. You murdered my friend Jace for no reason. You and your coward of a brother," he spat back. "I'm glad you're right here. Now you have a front row seat to watch me kill your people." But Brandon pulled out a grenade, dropping the pin. Everyone gasped in shock. "If you shoot me, I'll drop this, and then you all die," he stated. "You're bluffing," Xavier said. "So be it." As Benjamin released the pin and waited 2 seconds, scaring them all, before putting the pin back in. "The grenade has 1 second left. I drop it for real, and you'll have... Leave now, or you never see Talia and your kids ever again!" "Nice try. Kyle told me they left this place, headed somewhere else to get away from you all. You have nothing. That's why I had Carla follow them. They're here. You're lying," he said. "You should really stop underestimating me, Xavier. There is no line I won't cross to protect my friends," Benjamin told him. "Prove it," he ordered. "All right then. Rachel, put Talia on the walkie for me, please," he asked. Inside the house, Rachel positioned her walkie next to a phone. She played the newest recording. "Xavier, I'm scared. Please." Xavier heard as the voice stopped. Xavier was horrified. He then turned and punched Kyle in the face. "How could you not know she was here?" he shouted. "I swear, sir, I didn't know," he begged, when Ayumi, Sean, and several others came aiming their guns. "How could you betray us? I trusted you!" Ayumi shouted. "Then you're an idiot. If it wasn't for you, we never would have found these guns," he stated. Sean was shocked. "What?" he asked. "Get out of here right now!" Benjamin shouted. Benjamin saw Sean's devastated expression. "Leave now, and we'll give her and your kids back to you," he stated. "No," Xavier said, grabbing Rebecca as Tyler looked on. "I'm taking her. We'll trade for them," he said, desperate. "What? No!" Tyler screamed. "Fine," Benjamin said, angry. Rebecca was horrified. "No, please, Ben. I'm sorry. Don't let them take me, please," she begged. "Rebecca, I promise you'll be okay," he stated. "How could you?" Sean shouted, angry. Xavier smiled. "See you tomorrow, and then once I have my family back, you'll have nowhere to run," he said, backing away with everyone. Sean and the others were horrified as they looked on defeated. Benjamin went to Tyler, who was bleeding. "Don't touch me! How could you?" But Benjamin covered his mouth. Benjamin raised one finger and clicked his walkie 4 times. Elsewhere, John heard it and aimed his gun, seeing Xavier. He fired his gun, shattering the gun in pieces. As Rebecca dropped to the ground, Sean cursed at his missed shot and continued to fire as Benjamin and the others fired back at Xavier. "Don't hit her!" he shouted as he fired, killing 2 of the soldiers trying to run away. Rachel ran to her sister and comforted her. "Are you okay?" she asked. As John looked on, he suddenly heard something behind him. As a walker grabbed him and pulled him, he screamed and grabbed his head, pushing it back. As he looked, he saw that it was Hannah. John couldn't react as her head was blown off. Sean stands there with a smoking gun with tears in his eyes. As Sean dropped to the ground, horrified, John hugged him. John began to cry. "I'm sorry, Dad," he said, comforting him. John began to hug his son back as both of them cried over Hannah's dead body. As they were crying, John looked at the blood on his hand. There was a mark on his hand. The skin was broken. He looked at it, traumatized, realizing it was a bite. "Ben, this fire is out of control!" Rachel shouted. "You're right. We'll go after them. I need everyone to grab a fire extinguisher and try to put this fire out now!" Benjamin decided to go after them. He chased after them. "I need everyone to grab a fire extinguisher and try to put out this fire now!" he ordered, as Jeff and all the others took off. Benjamin stopped, seeing blood on the street. He looked at the blood and then saw a trail. He followed the trail, and he saw what caused it. It was a body. Benjamin's eyes widened in shock. "No!" Benjamin began to run, and the others went to the fire. Benjamin dropped to the ground, grabbing the body lying on the ground. "Brandon! Brandon!" he called out. "Hey, Ben. Don't worry, we're gonna get you some help. Hannah! Rachel! Ayumi! Somebody!" he shouted. As no one came, he placed his hand over his wound again. "Hold on, Brandon. Hold on. You're gonna make it. You're gonna make it. We're not done yet. We never are. You have to live. Please, live for me," he begged, as tears began to come from his eyes. Brandon coughed blood. "Remember the story you wrote just before we got separated? The Wounded Wolf? I never got the chance to tell you, but I really liked it. I think I know why now. It was about you. It took me a while to figure it out. Promise me you'll be happy, because I love you, bro. I've always, ever since the day when we met all those years ago, 5, no, 10, wait, what am I saying? What am I saying? Benjamin, where did you go?" he asked, losing his thoughts, as Benjamin noticed. "Benjamin? I can't see you. Where are you?" he asked. Benjamin shaked his friend. "Hey, Brandon, I'm right here. Stay with me. Come on. Don't give up. You can't give up. Don't you dare!" Benjamin cried as Brandon, it's me. It's Benjamin. It's Ben," he said, holding his friend tightly. Rachel looked on and gasped in horror, covering her mouth, as she slowly began to walk towards him. She looked as Brandon stopped moving. Benjamin kept shaking him. Nothing. No movement. He felt cold and was silent. Benjamin hugged him and shouted with all his might, scaring Rachel, as his screams rang for the entire neighborhood to hear. Despite all the walkers banging on the gates, the loud fire and shouting in the distance, they all heard his screams of heartbreak as he held onto his dearly departed friend. Young Benjamin is grabbed by the boy, but uses one hand. Benjamin grabs his helmet and swings it, cracking the larger boy in the face with it. He drops to the ground as his nose bleeds. The other boy sees it, and Benjamin takes his helmet and screams, "Get out of here!" he shouted. The boy went to his friend, who was crying as his nose bleeded profusely. Benjamin goes to help the kid who was hurt. "Are you okay?" he asked. "Yeah, thank you," the kid said, taking his hand. "I know we just met, but do you want to be friends?" he asked. Aren't you scared?" Benjamin asked. "No," he said. "I'm sorry about your game," Benjamin said. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm okay." Benjamin was surprised, wiping the blood from his face. "What's your name?" he asked the kid. "Brandon," he told him. A single gunshot was fired.